Good morning, and today we're going to talk about the relationship between the Leica CS15 and the Leica CS20. Knowing this relationship between the two will help your transition period going from your CS15 to the new CS20. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to talk about where you can find the settings, jobs, and how they work in the CS15 and how they now work and found in the CS20. So starting off with jobs and data, you typically here is where you would start a new job, choose a working job, your properties of the job, import and export data. In the CS20 it's slightly different layout. So under choose working job, you used to have to go to choose working job, and then you'd browse USB, SD card, internal memory, find the job you wanted, pick it, and then say OK. So on the CS20, on the job carousel, whatever job is centered is the job that is open. So this job is now current, this job is now current. This job is on the SD card because of the icon, shows a little SD card. This job is on internal memory because there is nothing there. So you don't have to browse between different external device or internal devices. So when I flip open the current job, here is where I see the properties. As we had here, properties, view and edit data, view and edit data, import and export, import and export. So if I come to properties, and I come to the properties of this job, general, code list, CAD, coordinate systems, code list, they're relatively the same, slightly different layout. Import and export data. Pretty much the same. Exporting an ASCII, exporting an ASCII format file, that's a custom data, is that one. So a typical ASCII is here, an ASCII file that has a format file export is here, DXFs, XMLs, very similar here. Import data, ASCII, DXFs, DTMs, alignments, very similar. New job. In CS15 you used to pick the new job, type in here's your properties of the code list, the coordinate system, the job name, where you're storing it. On the CS20 it's found in two places: function, new job, or if I scroll all the way to the very beginning to the second app, tap here to create a new job. Now if I was all the way down here and I wanted to create a new job, I can go function, home, it'll bring me right to the very beginning, and then there's the tap here to create a new job. As you see, the layout is very similar, slightly reorganized, saved on the internal memory. So again, pretty much everything you used to seeing on jobs and data is found pretty close to where the same layout, other than it's on the back now of the job. You don't have to actually pick a job. There's no job to open when you do choose a working job. All you do is slide the carousel to the current job. That job is now the current job. Okay, so now we're going to go to, under the CS15 we have instrument and users. Those two have been combined and everything is found under settings. So if you scroll down to the bottom, you have another carousel. These are your apps, and I'll get to those in a second. So settings, here is where you will find all the settings for the instrument. So if everything under instrument is pretty much here. User specifics are here as well. So I go to instrument, I got settings, connections, status. Connections and instrument are here. So if I come to instrument, measure mode, this level, bubble, lights, target search, everything is here. If I go back one screen and I go to connections, now I got everything to do with all my connections. The TPS connection wizard, all other connections. Go back one screen. If I go to user, your working styles, your working settings, your tools and utilities, about, and system settings are found here, also under settings. So system, regional settings, so distance, slope, angle, so the layout is identical. Smart work options, your options are here. For your screen, your audio, screen and audio. Go back one screen, and I go to Working Style Wizard here. That's now found under customization, because a Working Style Wizard is a customized preference. So we come to customization, and there's your Working Style Wizard. If you need to make any edits or any changes, or even create your own Working Style Wizard. Since we're on the topic, I do recommend with the CS20 that you back up your Working Style Wizard. Should your controller ever crash, you can easily bring back the Working Style Wizard if it disappears. Tools and utilities. So I come back to here and tools. So transfer user objects, you will do your software updates here, load your license keys, the FTP site is here, and if I go back, about Leica Viva, if you ever want to, and Leica Captivate, about, where we would look at firmware versions and CCP dates. So these two, or everything is found under settings. Go to work. So everything under go to work is now set here on this lower carousel. So we are currently in total station mode. So setup, survey would be now known as measure, stakeout, stake points. Survey Plus and Stakeout Plus are broken down into their own apps now. So in CS15 Survey Plus, you come in here, measure to a reference line, determine a coordinate system, traversing. So now under the Survey Plus, again, measure to line, measure to reference line, determine coordinate system, now known as create coordinate system. Stakeout Plus, stake to a reference line, stake to a line, stake DTM, stake DTM with points, COGO, your roads app, if I have it here, stake your roads. If you came in here, you would do your alignment editor, your road stake, your checks. In this case, we don't do anything else. We don't do rails or tunnels, but you do have that in the CS20 if we ever did. So stake a road, alignment editor, road checks. So everything you see under go to work is now here. So in the CS15, when you wanted to change from the total station to GPS, you'd click this icon, the instrument icon, and you would get your options, what mode you want to be in. In the CS20, if you pick the icon, you don't have that case. It is now buried here under the battery. Everything to do with the main functions. So your home, your camera, battery. So change TS mode and GPS mode the same here. You could also, like the CS15, I could go function mode. I can also do that here. Function instrument, and here I can change my instruments. On the total station specific, you will see, we used to have just the battery, which is now changed a little bit more information. Here's where you change, like I just said, your home, if you want to jump right to home. So if you're in a job, you can, or in an app, you can just jump to home and it jumps right back to the main screen. You're in a job, Stake points, sure. You're in a job and you hit home here as well. Brings you right back to the main screen. Coordinates. So if you used to in the 15, you pick here, and here would be your coordinate list, your lines, your images, your scans, your map. You can see that that is now gone. So the shortcut is when you're in any app, and I pick the header, I jump right to your points. So that is the same thing as this. If I'm in my home screen and I hit the nothing happens. When I click this, nothing happens. So you have to be in at least an app to use that shortcut. Camera is now found under the battery, like we said, or you used to have you have a camera shortcut here. So I can click the camera and go right to the camera. On the back side of CS20 is a nice camera with a flash. Your coordinate readout, your angle and your horizontal and vertical angles. So this is a little bit different up here now. So as I showed you, if you pick the icon, you know, that is now changed. So now if I want to go to, now what I see here under the icon is relatively the same thing as picking this. Or some things like auto aiming, you know, I can change between manual aiming and auto aiming, search and lock, power search left and right. So some of the icons that you're familiar with here by clicking this are under the little instrument icon here. If I pick the prism, that's the same thing as picking this one to a certain point, because I can go to targets, and now I'm in my I can pick my targets here, like 360, the prism, reflectorless, so I can change them here as well. So this is also combined with, if I pick this icon, here's your prisms, or your targets, and you will have an icon here when you're actually connected to your total station. So I pick this, change your face, your bubble. So if I, you know, the icon that's missing here is your bubble. Some of your icons, your new apps here are previously found here, like your joystick was on the next page. Your joystick, turn to an angle, current setup, I think is in this one, maybe not. Your so change your face, that's the other one. So pretty much the icons here they're just a little bit reorganized, recategorized. So alright, so that's it with the total station. So we want to change to GPS and see what's going on there. So when I go to GPS, yes, okay, sure. So now I'm in total GPS mode. Again, we already talked about the battery and the coordinates. So the similarity here is the satellites will tell you your satellites if you're connected. If I click the GPS, gives you your current position, your satellites, which is number of satellites you're tracking, or your sky plot. If I come to here, I can see what my GPS, my Russian or GLONASS satellites are. My radio link. Click on the radio link. You want to get your link status. If I go to settings and go to instrument, now everything is changed to GS. So connections, all of the connections is here. Your GS connection wizard is here. GPS settings is under the GS. So your satellite tracking, your antenna heights are here. Doing raw data logging. Alright, so when you're going to switch over to base menu, go to work, go to base, switch to base. Relatively the same thing. Instrument, where your settings are now, your base settings, your connections for your base receiver. Base setup is in go to work, over known point, over any point. And when you're going to switch to rover, used to go here, now it's, switch to rover, so it's very close to the same. Map. So now map is now known as 3D viewer. So if I pick the job, let's see, choose working job, pick it, right. Sure. Alright, so when I went to map, alright, so 3D viewer, I'll actually pick a job that so here's your 3D viewer, very similar. You can do function, display, whether you want to show points, lines. You do the same thing here. You do function, config, points, lines, so very similar. Zoom extents is now here, zoom extents, your zoom window. So I can zoom over this point, was the same thing as doing this. So zoom out before was like this. Now you have this little slide bar where I can grab my stylus and drag or drag in. And I can, if I see how this stays green, if I uncheck it, now I can pan around just like I used to do here. And then your zoom to point is here. Your settings are here, as they here. This is new, so this allows you to go into a straight down aerial view of your job. So if I zoom out, now if I pick this, zoom into my points. Now if I pick the eyeball and I go to here, now it gives it a bird's eye view. Now when I click this magnifying glass, now I have a new icon. It's this orbit. So it allows me to take the points and kind of just twist them into a 3D image. So, which is good when you're doing stakeouts. It's viewed in the map screen as well, and you can see yourself kind of walking around in a 3D. If I want to get back, just do the aerial view, and now I'm back. So zoom extents, slide, zoom window, and settings for whether you want layers shown. Alright, so let's talk about the controller face now. So very similar to what it was. You get the OK for the when you're measuring, you can shoot that button. Back screen, back screen. Home is a little bit, favorites is a little bit different. So when I pick favorites here, now I pick favorites here, and it's a flyout. And I can customize this very easily. Your customization is under your hotkeys setup, which we will cover in another video. Home. When I hit home now, this used to be a little bit different layout, which I prefer just to basically back myself all the way back. Home is nice and friendly now. Function key still there. Function key, hold the function key down, and now anything in the green will now be selected. So in this case, here's your brightness and contrast. Here's your speaker volume. Holding down the function key and the return arrow will minimize, captivate, and bring you to your desktop view. Function in this camera will do a screen capture, and caps lock function, caps lock will lock your caps. So where you used to not have a shortcut or a quick easy $sign, which we used to be in a different location, is now easily accessible with just a function. So that about wraps it up for transitioning between the CS15 and the CS20. This should make your life a little easier in understanding the relationship between the two. Be sure to like my Facebook page and get notifications on new videos. I will be creating another video on shortcuts and hotkeys and just your need to knows on the CS20. So make sure you get that, and I'll put a link above on that. Alright, thanks for watching.